It is time now for Back Pages tonight here on Sky Sports News, bringing you a first look at the sports stories in tomorrow's newspapers. Joining us tonight are Charlie Wyett, football editor at The Sun, and Riath Al-Samarra, chief sports feature writer for the Daily Mail. Good evening to you both, gentlemen. Let's quickly run through the Back Pages as they reach us after a dramatic night of football. Mersey beats then is the Telegraph here. Demolition Derby, their headline as they cover the defeat for Liverpool. Sun back page has Mersey beat, so went early with that one. Jurgen Klopp losing his final derby at Goodison and Everton's first win since 2010. Mail back page, you blew it, Cop, blew it, B-L-U-E. And then Guardian sport page has Everton's dream derby. Huge win for them, going 8 points clear of the relegation zone. And this on the back page of the I Glory at Goodison, and Team GB swimmers to be given typhoid jabs. Another story covered there ahead of the Olympics. OK, let's go to you, Charlie, and the back page of The Sun. Mersey beat, I suppose on the positive front. How positive for Everton was that tonight?
Brilliant result for Everton. Brilliant performance, and that's them safe now, isn't it? They deserved it. They had more fight. It just felt as though they wanted it more, which is crazy, really, when you consider how important it was for both teams. But certainly, just watching the TV, Sky Sports, at the end of that game, the atmosphere just seemed, unbelievable. I think Sean Dyche deserves an awful lot of credit for keeping this team together, keeping this club together, when it's seemed to be on the verge of falling apart with the points deductions and the ownership issues. So a great night for Everton, and of course their first win over Liverpool at home for 14 years.
Yeah, incredible run that, isn't it? To think about. Klopp's title nightmare is the subheading there on the back page of The Sun. Riath, Jared Branthwaite and Dominic Calvert-Lewin put two massive dents into Liverpool's title dreams. How damaging is it, Riath, do you feel? Is that them done?
I think so. It's difficult to write them off. Obviously, the 3 points behind now, but you've got City on this run. You've got Arsenal seem to have sort of shaken off recent difficulties. What I struggled with tonight was just how tame Liverpool were, and probably most of the viewers have been watching Virgil van Dijk just give his interview a moment ago, and I found that absolutely astonishing. What he's saying there, sort of, we need to look in the mirror and sort of ask if we gave everything. And it's amazing to think at this stage in the season that they could produce such a weak performance, and where as Van Dijk was touching on there, where was the fight? And what was it? 5 weeks ago, we were still talking about the possibility of a quadruple. It's sort of unraveling, sort of alarmingly fast at the moment, and it's quite hard to necessarily put a finger on why. They've come through this period where they've had a lot of injuries. They've come through this period which they actually navigated extremely well with that younger core of players, and now it's falling apart. I'm watching Mo Salah tonight, watching Darwin Núñez, and it was hard to make sense of it, really. I don't think Salah's ever fully recovered from the injury he picked up in the Africa Cup of Nations. Núñez is off the boil. I'm looking at that attack thinking that Diaz was the only player who was really putting in a shift. And when you're talking about 5 games to the end of the season, that's not what we associate with a Jurgen Klopp side. So there's going to have to be some level of internal inquest. I'm sure our papers are going to pick over it thoroughly as well. But to see Liverpool decelerate like this is really surprising.
Yeah, what do you make of it, Charlie? We go to the front page of the Telegraph Sports Supplement. Demolition Derby. Liverpool's title hopes blow up in Goodison Park. Shock. Luke Edwards reporting here. It has been coming, though, hasn't it, Charlie? The past month, out of the FA Cup, then out of Europe, 1 win in 4 in the Premier League. What do you put it down to? Is it fatigue? Is it perhaps the timing of Klopp announcing his departure? Might he change that if he looked back on it?
I think there's a bit of everything there. Yeah, fatigue. physically and mentally. First of all, let's be honest. Liverpool is unbelievable that they even put themselves in this position. Apart from pretty much losing his midfield last summer and having to rebuild, and then injuries to pretty much everyone. And there have not been sort of 2 or 3 week issues. Virtually the whole team's been affected. And as Riath said, just when the injury situation's eased, they've put this wobble in, and I don't think that they believe they can do it anymore. I mean, I was in Bergamo for the Europa League game last week against Atalanta, and for the last sort of 20 minutes, the fire had gone, and even tonight, and Gary Neville picked up on it when he was doing his co-coms, and he saw that Jurgen Klopp was sitting down. He wasn't in his technical area. He wasn't shouting at the players, and maybe that's had an effect. So it's obviously not over. I think Manchester City and Arsenal have potentially got a wobble in them still, but I just don't see Liverpool turning this around. But as I said, it's remarkable that they've even given themselves a chance. But unfortunately for them, as you've just said, 1 win in 4. 1 clean sheet in the last 12 games. I think that says it all. And again, as Riath said, Mo Salah has definitely gone off the boil since he got those injuries in January.
Is that fair, Riath, in terms of the headline of the Mail here? You blew it, Klopp. Everton leave title tilt in tatters. Do you think Jurgen Klopp deserves any responsibility for this? Or is it simply, as Charlie's alluding to there, that maybe reality caught up with Liverpool, that they weren't quite ready for this title challenge, given the squad changes in the summer?
I think it's a good point Charlie makes there. They've punched above their weight. We have seen this sort of Klopp 2.0 this season, and for them to have actually put themselves into contention, when we look at the bigger picture and sort of detach a little bit from the immediacy of the past couple of weeks, it has been a fantastic season. They have won a trophy. So, that perspective is necessary, but I do wonder about the Klopp announcement, and naturally we all draw the parallels, and we've tortured the comparison to death to United under Fergie, and anytime a manager says they're going, is that going to have an effect? And there's a risk with these things that we can be a little bit reactionary, that we can draw conclusions that don't exist, but it does make you wonder. Naturally, when Klopp first announced that he was going to go, the form didn't drop off. So, fair play to them for that. But are we seeing a delayed reaction? Obviously, there's been a lot more speculation in the past few days about who's going to be coming in. Does that start to seep into players? Then you've got a number of guys who are coming towards the end of their contracts. So, are we looking at a point where Liverpool are moving into a transition? Are certain players like Salah? I know my colleague Lewis Steele was writing about him in this morning's paper about sort of this stick or twist decision on Mo Salah coming up. How much do these things feed into it? So you have so many factors to actually weigh up what's going on there. But what we can't dispute is this has been a very underwhelming finish to what had been extremely surprising season.
A difficult month, Charlie. It wasn't a downturn immediately after Jurgen Klopp's announcement, was it? It almost seemed like they'd been galvanised by it. When you look back at that, were there reasons that he had to come out? Did you feel the story was going to break?
Well, as he, when he made that announcement, he sort of revealed the fact that he made the decision and he told the club in November. So, it was remarkable that they managed to keep that under wraps. But, as we've seen at the moment, I think he had to make the announcement because he had to give Liverpool the chance to get another manager. And there was no way he could have waited till May and then Liverpool all of a sudden be looking, because obviously at the moment in the summer, it's going to be, one hell of a musical chairs at some of the biggest clubs in Europe. So I think he had to come out at the time he did. I don't think he had an awful lot of choice, because Liverpool really needed to start looking at another manager. And of course, with Michael Edwards coming in, they had to look at player targets. And I think if you're looking to get a player, that player, needs to know who he's going to be playing for, or certainly whether he's going to be playing for a new manager. Equally, as Riath said, Liverpool have got to be honest with some of their players that may be looking to go elsewhere, and say it wouldn't surprise me if Mo Salah leaves in the summer.
OK, it's interesting to say. Salah potentially leaving. We'll talk about that in due course, I'm sure. Let's finally consider the Guardian in this conversation. Everton's dream derby. First win at Goodison since 2010, Riath, as we've mentioned. Klopp's first defeat there. How important that he ends on a positive note in the coming weeks? Do you think it's possible they win their final 4 games away to West Ham, Tottenham at home, Villa away and Wolves at home to at least, I guess, make the other teams, Manchester City and Arsenal, win it?
Absolutely, it's possible. I mean, it's Liverpool, and it's a fantastic squad of players with a fantastic manager. In terms of Klopp's legacy, I don't think anything depends on the last 4 games. I think they could have had a far worse season than this, and his legacy at Liverpool was always going to be secure. I think we're talking about one of the great Premier League managers. So, and on top of all of that, he has actually won them a trophy this season. So, there's no disputing that he's had a great time at Liverpool, and he's had a good farewell as well. I think, going to Charlie's answer earlier, when we apply that perspective about what they were up against last summer, it's been a very successful season.
Indeed, coming into this derby, they'd be very happy with their place in the league. Stay 3 points off the leaders Arsenal. Manchester City with 2 games in hand.